G'day guys, welcome to the SC Playbook question and answer podcast out of NRL Supercoach Round 1, the Vegas edition. Teams need to be semi-locked in with 2 games kicking off this weekend, I should say, over in the States. And for those a little bit new to Supercoach, and of course Vegas are a bit of a new addition in recent years, what happens is that teams will, after these games are played on Sunday, you can still chop and change your teams and make trades and all that without it coming off your total amount of season trades. But the 4 teams playing on Sunday, they will lock into your team, and you can't obviously trade them out. You can't move them around your team. If you've VC'd or seed them, captaincy-wise, any of that, you can't change that. So they will lock in, but any of your players that are in your squad at the moment or that are in Supercoach who aren't featuring, you can still change things around. Anyway, what an edition of the Q&A podcast we have this week, because some seriously big news in the Supercoach world with Brandon Smith suffering a calf injury. I think he was the most owned player in Supercoach, or right up there before this injury. He'll drop off significantly, and I am recording this on Thursday. I'll be releasing it Friday morning, so perhaps we'll get some scan results on Brandon Smith by the time you're listening to this, but it doesn't sound overly good. NRL physio saying, potentially even a couple of months kind of thing, not knowing any severity, of course, but it makes things tricky because, first and foremost, I did a subscriber Q&A in the Discord last night, and I was talking about trying to find ways. I really want to get Reece Walsh into my team. Trying desperately to. I think he'll be in my team round 1. At least I thought he would. But I was trying to find basically 300k in my cap, or about 230k in my cap, to get him in. And I had a few ways that I could maybe do it, but it wasn't going to be easy. Now, with this debacle around Brandon Smith, going to have to spend another, it might be 100k, it might be 200k on another hooker for round 1. Oh, gee, it's going to make it tough to get Reece Walsh. I think at least with the team setup that I have, maybe it means dropping a gun elsewhere to another cheapie in my team, maybe like a CT dub, like a Stephen Crichton type character, or a Selwyn Cobbo, and then upgrading one of my mid-range, like Fa'alongo fullbacks, to a Reece Walsh. So there's an option there, but yeah, I don't love it. I was very happy with my team setup, and the Brandon Smith news makes things very difficult. So where to now is the big question, of course, provided that Brandon Smith is out for longer term. Now, the first option is, of course, you hold Cheese, depending on what it is. I think if Cheese is out for like the first 3 to 4 weeks, you could definitely hold him. So, Harry Grant is the second most owned player, hooker in Supercoach at 34.6%. The Storm don't have a bye. I think it's like round 15 or something ridiculous. So, if the Storm are in and around the top 2 or the top 4 come sort of mid-origin period, and then these buys start to roll in, they're going to be sitting pretty. In that sense, you barring an injury to Harry Grant where he misses a week or a suspension or something, you won't have to play your reserve hooker. So there's a world where Harry Grant owners can just keep Brandon Smith if it's that sort of 3 to 4 weeks. If you're looking at 5-6 weeks plus, I think you're treading a fine line holding Brandon Smith, just because, first and foremost, under the new stat system, we suspect that hookers we don't suspect, they're going to get more points because they're going to get more tackles credited, pardon me, coming down and getting towards their scores. So I think that a lot of the hookers are undervalued, whereas in past seasons, it was probably a little more viable to just get Cheese. He'll come in and round 5, 6, 7, 8, whenever it might be, and he'll make his coin and do his job, whatever, and we just don't need to worry about that dud position. But I do think it's just a little bit more relevant this year because of the new stats system, at least to start the year before they hit their values. So if Cheese is confirmed to be back in by sort of round 3, 4, hold. Round 5, 6, that's the grey area where I'll be very wary, and I will probably be starting another hooker with an eye to earning money and then downgrading that player, let's say it's Reed Mahoney or a Bailey Hayward, down to Brandon Smith when Cheese is back and the minutes come. Because that's the other thing, right? Like, Cheese coming back from a calf injury, I don't think they're going to rush him into the big minutes that they were maybe hoping to play him. And you might add in that, say, Peter Mamouzelos, if he starts at 9 and kills it, or Bronson Garlic, whatever they go for, if they're killing it, they're not going to rush him back into a number 9 role, I would imagine, Brandon Smith. So, yeah, 7 weeks plus, I think you're playing with fire. Because if your hooker goes down for a week or two and you don't want to trade them, or you don't have a hooker that week, I know we have the flex, you can get away with it, but it's round 1. It's not like we're making trades at this stage. We can start the season with who we want at hooker. I'm not going to fully deep dive into the hooking options right now. I will do so. I mean, the news only sort of broke last night. I was at a concert last night, so to get that while I was there, I've still got a lot to digest. I've had a bit of a look into it this morning, but shout out to Good Charlotte and Yellow Card with a cameo from Kiss Chase. It was all happening out at Olympic Park. But this morning, had a look into the options, and I will dig through this more and more and jump in a Discord Q&A before the end of the weekend. We'll chat more about it. But if you want the bargain option, it's Bailey Hayward. It's so annoying that the Doggies are playing this weekend for that case. Not so annoying, but it'd be good if he was named next week and we had a bit more time to sort of think about this and see the rest of the team's starting sides. But I don't mind Bailey Hayward. Like, he's priced on a 35-point average from 55 minutes per game last season. He could play as many as 80 minutes this year. Maybe he sits at sort of 60 to 65 minute mark, but he's apparently rock hard fit, has a big motor on him. I think he'll be benefiting from the new tackle system as well. So it's not perfect, but if you want to add Bailey Hayward, if you can jag an attacking stat there as well, it might just be a case of, like, firstly, going cheese to Hayward is, what have we got, about $108,000. Not too much of a jump, not ideal, but not too bad. And then let's say Hayward can make 60-odd K by around 7 or 8 when cheese looks right for picking again. And then you can downgrade Hayward down to Brandon Smith. And honestly, you could nearly run whoever your gun hooker is combo with cheese for the rest of the season. Yeah, that's where I'm leaning early days. Other options. Do you go the next tier up and go to a Reed Mahoney, currently 30% owned, $418,000? I don't mind this play. I don't. What are we, about 180K more, 170, 180 odd K more to go from cheese to Mahoney? Again, I've spoken about Reed Mahoney in that 6-man bench for the Cowboys. It makes it a little bit tricky just because Sonny Luke has been named on it at number 14. Read into that what you will. I still expect Reed Mahoney to play big minutes and probably play 80 minutes. But if Sonny Luke eats 15 to 20 minutes out of Mahoney's game time, Mahoney's just like valued where he should be. If he were to play 80 minutes, I think he's undervalued, and I think he makes 100 to 150K, but we just don't know, do we? So the old 6-man bench, because I don't think, and again, could be completely wrong with this, if it was a 4-man bench, I don't think Sonny Luke is on it. So it's just a guessing game, unless someone's got some intel about what the Cowboys are trying to do with their bench and their hooking rotation. Could you go the dual gun hookers, Harry Grant and Blake Brayley? Possibly. Not for me. I want to spend my money elsewhere. But again, under the new stat system, there's suggestions that, we think Grant, Brayley probably potentially both underpriced to start the season. Do you look like Kalani Goings at 7% ownership? I just think that is trap city. He's bottom dollar dual position. He's a really versatile player. Coming over from the Warriors, he was Cup Player of the Year. And he's just going to sit on that 6-man bench so often, I reckon. And I think there are going to be a lot of weeks where the Panthers have got a good lead or whatever it might be, and he just gets like 10, 15-minute stints, screws any AE loops, any of that sort of stuff. So I dislike that. If you want to go a genuine enough, there are better options out there, such as Walsh at the Cowboys. Benaya Uelu at the Roosters, now with Reece Robson gone, 248K. What do his minutes look like? I said I wasn't going to go into this too much. This is a Q&A pod, not a Hookers podcast. Anyway, I think it's very relevant for everyone, so hopefully it's beneficial. But Uelu, let's have a look at his numbers. 38 minutes per game last season, 25-point average. Let's have a look at his bigger minute games, though. He had a 73-minute game in round 25 for 42 points, 46 in base. That's good going. But outside of that, he had a 40-minute game for 37 points. There was a try assist there. He had a 51-minute game for 53 points. I think he had plenty of attacking stats in that. With Connor Watson looming, what do his minutes look like? What week does Reece Robson come back? Does he come back early? Don't love it. Don't hate it. I think if you start Uelu, he might make your 50K best case, but there's also a chance that he makes bugger all, and you're just going him to cheese around 7 or 8 anyway. I'd love to, of course, we'd love to know what his minutes are, but we don't. So, look, I am leaning right now towards the Hayward or Reid Mahoney option. I just need to sort of delegate funds and see what I can do. And if I don't go the Reece Walsh option, perhaps I can move up to Reid Mahoney and have a bit of security, because the thing about Reid Mahoney with the additional tackles, I'd play him pretty happily in my team early in the season. So Reid Mahoney, another one playing this weekend. Yeah. All right, let's get into some questions for the week. And we will start with a question from bloke we've spoken a little bit about this week. It's one from Humbach. How is Guru handling Fletcher Sharp now that he's named? Well, he's over in Vegas. He'd be getting up and about. Don't you worry about that. I haven't seen him since TLT because he's in the States. But he goes on to say, it gets me excited. Is he a must now? I'm not keen at all. It's no knock on Fletcher Sharp. That is a knock on what do the Knights look like this year? What does his job security look like? If they start poorly for the first 2 weeks, they'll put Sand into the halves. Sharp could go to the bench. Sharp could go to the wing. So many different things could happen. And he's $730,000. He's very expensive. He's only positioned at 5'8". He doesn't have dual this year either. So, yeah, I think you're paying a lot of money for a bit of risk. I think it is going to be a really fast-paced game with lots of 6 against, free-flowing, adjudicating from the referees. I think there'll be points scored in this Cowboys-Knights clash. So I think Fletcher Sharp scores well this week for what it's worth. Coming back to Oz early in the season, put it this way, I'd be nervous watching him because he really needs to deliver at that price. So Fletcher Sharp, not for me. Guys and girls, we've partnered with Mountain Culture Beer Co. to kick off the 2026 NRL Supercoach season. They are rated Australia's #1 brewery, winning the prestigious Gab's Hottest 100 Craft Beer Award with a status quo pale ale for the 4th year on the trot. It's brewed at the foot of the Blue Mountains, the most impressive 4-peat coming out of that area in about as long as I can remember. So it got me thinking, guys, the biggest changes in NRL history. Joey Johns-Tucker in Origin, Brimo to the Poms last year, Jake Granville to fullback in 2019, thereabouts Jake Granville, Payne Haas to the Bunnies in more recent times, and Supercoach locking in a new stat system, absolutely rattling things left, right, and centre. You can probably add in Cheese to start the season at hooker as well. At least we thought he was going to. Guys, greatness comes with change. For all the beer lovers out there, I'm setting you the challenge. This weekend, when you go for a beer at your local or you go down to the bottle shop and you're going to get the thing you've drunk since you're 18 years old and old enough to do so, change it up and get a status quo pale ale by Mountain Culture. Change things up. Do it a little bit differently and you might like it. In fact, you'll certainly like the beer. Will you stick with it forever? Probably. I'll be up in Cairns this weekend doing things a little bit differently, stinking hot up there, and I'll be doing that exact thing. So, guys, if you are going to do so, and you're keen to give it a crack yourself, head to mountainculture.com.au. Use the discount code MountainCulture4Pete. That is the number 4 to receive 10% off beers with your first order. One from Awesome Maxi. Wants a mega gun in flex. Cleary or Walsh? I think Walsh. I really do. Because of the brutal draw, like Cleary's safer for 75. Probably. Whereas, Walsh is maybe more likely to get your 50-odd. But Walsh could come out and explode and average 110 just because he's a freak. And, I don't expect him to replicate what he did at the back end of last season. Not immediately anyway. He'll ease into things. He won't ease into things. He'll be all guns blazing. But I think start of the season it might start off a little bit slower. But if he comes out, he could average 100 and just be the best player in Supercoach for the next 5 years. Seriously, he has that good a potential. Penrith draw, really difficult early on. Cleary probably averages his 70 to 75, maybe a little bit more, but tough to hold value. Walsh with a better draw, a lot of games at Suncorp and in Queensland, could explode and people are scrambling to get him. I think that Reece Walsh is the play there. One from Jacob, would you start Britton Nickera or Isaiah Papali'i as a pod, running up Blaze round 2? Or would you go one of the $400,000 guys and bank $190K for upgrades in round 2-4? I don't mind the Nikora play. I don't like the Papali'i play. They have... I don't know what their round one edges will be, but Liam Martin had a little injury niggle, but he didn't feature in the trials. That's why Papali'i started on the edge. Scott Sorensen also didn't feature in the trials, so that was the big one there. There's every chance that those two are your starting edges in round one, and Papali'i plays through the middle. Now, I don't know the severity of those injuries and what the boys are looking like, if they're due back for round one, whatever. If Papali'i was an 80-minute edge, yeah, I'd be starting the big fella for sure, regardless of that tough run, because he gets through plenty of work, great attacking potential, especially if he was running off Nathan Cleary, as I said, penning the edge back rowers. If we get confirmation that like a Sorensen or a Martin were out for a bit longer and Papali'i was going to start on an edge and play bigger minutes, I'll entertain it. I'm just worried that even if one of those two's eased back off the bench, do they take minutes off him on the edge? I would imagine so. I'm very happy to sit back and watch Papali'i early, and if he starts on the edge week 1 and 2, plays 80 minutes, I'll grab him. But there's huge risk that he's on the bench by round 1, round 2, round 3, playing sort of 50 minutes, and he's just not a buy. Britton Nikora. Nikora's a funny one, right? He just pretty attack reliant. He only averaged 39 in base last season. He did have a couple of games, though, to be fair, where, you know what, he came off, I think it was bench in the finals for the Sharkies and Billy, because he got injured in round 23 and then he didn't come back till finals. There was a game there where he played 13 minutes for 4 points. So he's finished those last few games with scores of 4, 44, 38. So he's priced on a 58-point average from 76 minutes per game. You're relying on him, I think, getting attacking stats early, which he very well may do. He just seems, Nikora, to be like a few Sharkies, to be honest. You get them later on in the year when they're in their groove and they're playing good footy and they come up against a stretch of soft opposition who are maybe injury depleted or battling defensively, and that's where he can do his damage. So I'm sure I'll start him at some point. Back your gut, because he could come out and explode. Last year he started with scores of, even listen to this, started last year with scores of 66, 61, 58, 42, 87. He had 5 tries in that time. So, yeah, in those games, they were all 80 minutes. He had a base of 41, 36, 25, 46, 39. He scored 87 against the Raiders with a double. So, not for me, but yeah, back yourself if you think he'll start hot. Good question coming in from Gift of the Gav, and a great Discord name. The questions are coming from the SC Paper subscriber Discord community. Timbuktu, if you would only fit one over Jesse Colquhoun or Taniela Paseka, who would you go for? Do you rate the duel of Jesse or the slightly safer scores or longer-term job security of Paseka? I think Colquhoun. Nothing in it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think, actually, I prefer Colquhoun. I think he'll play bigger minutes. I think he'll get through more work. I think he's more chance to jag major attacking stats. He's a bit riskier because we don't really know his minutes, whereas Paseka, they need him to play minutes as a middle just because they're pretty light on through the middle. But he is coming back from a lengthy ACL layoff, so what do his minutes look like early on? So, I mean, I suppose in that regard, there's question marks on both of them. But if Colquhoun can get somewhere between... I think if Colquhoun plays 45 minutes, he'll make money, but we want more. If he can get 50 to 60, he becomes a very playable 2RF / front row. And you mentioned as well, he does have the dual, and there are a few prospects that are 2RF front row forward that we're entertaining. So to have the ability to sort of chop and change, Toby Couchman owners out there who has the dual. There's a few out there. I think Trey Mooney as well. So I like Colquhoun. As I said, very little in it, but whilst I have both in my team, I prefer Colquhoun. 2RF is a very interesting position, isn't it? And Benny Bagshaw asks, can you rank the 2RF mid-rangers? Torn on McEwen, Lukey, Stewart, Hamish, that is, and Trey Mooney. Any love for Laban if when he gets the edge spot? Yeah, I think Laban's... I think he's 2RF only as well. He's 2RF only at $299K. Shivers. It's an interesting position. Like I said on, and I spoke about McEwen and the 2RFs on the Discord Q&A last night, but you could easily flex Q&A. You could easily flex the 2RF position, I think. Just so many good buys there. And yeah, in terms of those guys, I have Lukey at 1. Or just on Laban, just a big watch on team list next week. If he starts in the back row, I'm still reluctant. Like, how many minutes does he play? What does his output look like? How long does he have the starting spot for? Because if he starts, I would assume it means Halasimi is on the bench. Seriously, how long is Halasimi going to be on the bench for? Like, I'll be a bit wary. I can see myself waiting till round 3 for Laban if he starts in the back row. His name's starting in the back row next week, but obviously watch this space. Rankings, I've got Helam Lukey first. I have Hamish Stewart last. Stewart could be a gun, don't get me wrong. Just Flano loves playing his 4 forwards off the bench. I don't know what minutes will look like. I think bigger minutes are going to go to like Toby Couchman. I think they're going to want to get some decent time into Ryan Couchman. They seem to like him. So, yeah, could be a great buy, Stewart. I'm happy to watch the minutes the first 2 rounds. McEwen versus Mooney, it's a tough one, again, because we're only guessing at minutes. Had a really good chat about McEwen on the show, the Q&A last night, but I am really warming to McEwen, and I went through his numbers from last year on that. I'll touch on them again, but put it this way, before the little niggle that saw him withdraw from the first trial and then play off the bench in the second trial, he was very highly owned. That scared people off, rightly so, but check out these numbers in 80-minute games last year. 52 points in 80 minutes with 42 in base. 55 points in 66 minutes with 47 in base. 72 points in 80 minutes, 55 in base. 44 in 80 minutes, 46 in base. 66 in 80 minutes, 41 base. Here's the best one, Sharkies, round 26. 60 points in 80 minutes, 57 in base. Very little, actually I shouldn't say very little attack. He had a little bit of attack in these games, but if he's an 80-minute edge, which I suspect will be the plan for him, everyone would own him, and I think he'll be a must by like round 3. But because of the injury niggles that he's got, does he play like 50 or 60 minutes with Thomas Kent coming on off the bench? That's the concern. But I also, with Trey Mooney, I don't know what his minutes are going to be. I suspect 50. If he gets to 55, yeah, you're looking good. Any more than 55, he'll be near must with his work rate and his PPM. But I'd probably put McEwen just above Trey Mooney. Huge watch on them this weekend. All right, question coming in from Squazzer. Keen to get your thoughts on the highest scoring player in round 1, using my flex for the highest score in first few rounds as a free hit as such. I mean, I haven't thought about this, but let's just have a quick look on the fly. Probably won't touch the Vegas games. There's a world where Scott Drinkwater explodes. If there are a lot of points in that, it's as fast flowing as I'm expecting he could, but he wouldn't be my tip. The boring tip is just Payne Haas, grand final rematch, hurting from the loss to Hull KR, Panthers. He could just come out and have 75 in base. If he jags a try or a try assist, honestly, it's probably him. In terms of attacking players, I mean, Sharks 5:30 on the Saturday afternoon against the Titans. There's a match to target. Bunnies and Dolphins, 4 p.m. Sunday Arvo at Suncorp. Who do we come in there? Herbie, Cobbo. Hopefully I've got them both. I think the Sharkies would be the one to target. Sharkies and Titans. And I know the Titans look decent in the trials, but in terms of matchups, that's the one. So maybe a little round 1 Nico Hines. Matchup-wise, that's the one I want. If I was betting on it, it'd be Payne Haas. Boring. Alrighty, guys, time for the NordVPN pod play of the week. And I have gone with Gurmat Shibasaki. We don't want to look too much into trials, but there's a lot more to Shibasaki than I think just saying he looked good in the World Club Challenge. Like, the World Club Challenge is the most intense trial game that you can get. So, full strength team, 2 sides going gung-ho to win that game of footy. And Shibasaki scored a double. He was inches from scoring a hat-trick. He is a tackle buster, an offloader, has a big work rate. His combination with Reece Walsh is absolutely sizzling and getting better by the game. So I just think when we look at the new stats server and the fact that centers are ones to benefit, why not Shibasaki, right? Like, he's going to benefit like everyone else there. 4.8% with a decent draw to start the season. A lot of games in Queensland, as we said, at Suncorp to start the season. Penrith round 1, obviously very tough, but they've had their difficulties on the edge defensively in certainly last year, but in recent years as well. He'll also be going at that right edge of Isaac Tungo. That's a freaking outstanding matchup. So Shibasaki, I quite like him at 647k. Guys, if you are after a point of difference online, look no further than NordVPN. We hear these horror stories of cyber hacks all the time. Like anything, the initial thought is always, that will not happen to me. Well, shock, it did happen to me, and it sucked. You would give anything in hindsight, I would have anyway, to have had my private data protected online. I lost cash, mobile number, email, social channels, bank cards, and a heap more, including a little bit of cashola in that. It rocked me. Could have all been avoided with NordVPN. It is premium cybersecurity for the price of a cup of coffee per month, in which case it's a freaking no-brainer. Protection aside, guys, we're all sports fans here. Nord also allows you to access content that's not in your region with one click. If you're abroad, then you can access all your streaming services from back home. If you're going on a holiday this year and you don't want to miss any footy, this is you. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/SC Playbook. Our link also gives you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. There is no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it, scrap it. The link is in the podcast episode description box. Trust me, guys, as someone who's been hit where it hurts, could be the best thing you ever do. All right, guys, couple more, then I've got to wrap it up. I have to hit the road, the air, actually. I'm jumping on a plane to go to Cairns to watch, to the mighty Northern Pride. Don't have a game this weekend, unfortunately, but I'm going up there to visit a bit of family. So got to get going. For the subscribers, I will be jumping into another Q&A with you, aiming for tomorrow, I reckon, to get through more questions if I've missed any in here, which I have because there's a stack being round one. But a question from E. Maxstar. Hey, mate, if you had to play either Ethan Sanders or Daniel Atkinson in your 17, who would you choose? Tossing up on the guarantee of Atkinson being named or the risk of waiting on Sanders to be named? They'll both be named, mate. You're safe there. I wouldn't stress too much. Funnily enough, I've sort of lent only just towards Daniel Atkinson as a buy over Ethan Sanders. As a round one play, I prefer Ethan Sanders. So expecting him to goal kick, get to clash against Manly, who defensively look ordinary in the trial. Only a trial, I know. I prefer Atkinson as a buy. I think he's going to be a better scorer than Ethan Sanders. However, the Doggies in Vegas, smaller field, Doggies defense round one is going to be rock solid. And I just think, a game, it's cold over in Vegas as well. Make of that what you will, but it should be hopefully dry, good conditions for that game. I think it's a Brookie Oval. It is a Brookie Oval, the Raiders and the Seagulls. I just think it's a better game for him. The Raiders should put a few tries on, and if you can add a few goals to that, hopefully jug a try assist. I don't think there'll be much in it. If I had to pick one to play this week, it'd be Ethan Sanders. But in terms of buying them, I still like Daniel Atkinson just. One from Sassy. Hey, Wimmy Tilliams, I've somehow got my team finalised with exactly $0 in the bank. Is this madness? As mine stands, and this is pre-trading cheese, I have $500 in the bank. He says, or should I trade out Trey Mooney for Flegler, Paxton, Lasardi to have just over 100k in the bank? I mean, I think Paxton, if named to start on the edge next week, which I'm expecting, I think he's a near enough must anyway. A big minute edge back rower, yes, please. However, sort of circling back to your question and anyone in a similar situation with not much money in the bank, I like to have, and sort of Matty L's gone on to say, what's your ideal cash in the bank to start the season? Yeah, I like to have sort of 50 to 100k in my bank, which just, it takes a bit of pressure off your trades for week 2 and week 3 and week 4, where we really want to try and go hard and fix up any bleeding areas in our team that we have before there's price changes. That being said, if you're happy with your team, don't worry about it. If you've got no money in your bank or $500 like me or $2,000, if you make a change, you go, oh, cool, it frees up a little bit of cash for coming weeks, but I don't really want this guy in my team, or I'm trading someone that I think is going to go great. Don't stress too much. If you can free up 50 to 100k and you're sitting there going, all right, I still like this team, and that one move that I had to make accordingly doesn't, disrupt my team too much, then I think that's fine. Go for it. So, yep, that's the way I sort of play it. Try and get 50 to 100k if you can, but not the be-all and end-all. All righty, guys, that'll do us for the Q&A podcast for this week. And yeah, that'll be all our podcast for the week, I think. Live Q&A Discord with the subscribers coming in Friday. I'll look to do that sort of Friday afternoon, evening. Try and do it after work for people so that as many people can tune in as possible. We do record those as well, guys. So if you can't make the live one, what I do is I edit it and snip up any pauses and all that sort of stuff as well and put it live in the chat later on. So you can listen to it afterwards. If you'd like to subscribe to SC Playbook this season, guys, and get involved in all that and support the site for all the time and effort that goes into it from the contributors and everyone else involved, scplaybook.com.au. We've got our team reveals on there as well and a bunch of subscriber content across the platform, podcast, articles, etc. Head to the menu on our site. You can do it for less than $2 per week for our entire range of Supercoach content across NRL, AFL, EPL, NFL, NBA. She's getting big. So if you'd like to, jump in and do that. Otherwise, enjoy your footy this weekend, the Vegas Openers, and good luck to your Supercoach team.